As Sarah highlighted at the start, this came out of a request we had from a couple of councils just to do a bit of research, because they were looking at developing an outline business case for that. And we've been working quite heavily with East Lothian, East Ayrshire and Falkirk and Highland councils in terms of developing this, and that's kind of where the request emanated from. And we're now at the stage that we're going to be writing it to all council chief executives probably at the end of this week, looking for an initial expression of interest. So I'll take you through where we are with it at the moment. As I say, followed the request from 3 councils with an initial meeting hosted by Falkirk Council around about early September-ish time, just to hear from East Lothian and East Ayrshire councils where they were on that. As I say, the business case in terms of getting that approved at their own councils, and we subsequently heard from Highland Council, who had also moved to an outline business case as well in terms of taking this forward. And since even that initial meeting, we've had a number of councils who've been hearing about it. I actually want to find out a bit more and see what help we can give. I'll go into the model in a minute, but essentially what we did is that following that meeting, we engaged with one of our associates because there was a request at that meeting to take that forward. It was all very well kind of hearing about what was going on. We felt as if we needed something a bit more concrete in terms of how it would work. And generally how these things work is you work through an external lottery provider. It's an external management company who would provide the infrastructure and the network for the lottery for you. And what we did is we came up with a model that we'll be including in the letter, as I say, for the chief executives, and I'll come on to speak a wee bit more about the risks and the benefits and exactly what it can do for you as a council, and in terms of where the income comes from and who it's really for, because there's a wee bit of a misconception about what the income you get from that is for. But essentially itself, there's very limited upfront costs for a council. You're probably looking at things around kind of marketing and communications for yourselves in terms of how you do that. It'll be a weekly draw. It'll be a kind of a 4-weekly ticket that people will buy. We're thinking at the model at the moment, it around about £5 paid. And there'll be a guaranteed local raffle prize fund. One of the differences when they do it in England, and there's a few councils signed up to this in England at the moment, is that it's a lottery-based prize. So, you know, if you have a draw and nobody matches whatever the numbers are, nobody wins. And one of the key proponents down there is Aylesbury Vale Council, and I don't think anyone has actually won from them since they've been doing it in the last year and 18 months. So one of the advantages that we hopefully will get is if we can have a critical mass of councils who are looking at this. We've got an offer to work with Scotland Excel and look at a procurement model that will allow us to derive the benefits that we want as Scottish councils in taking that forward. If we do it individually, there's a greater chance that you'll actually be left with the vagaries of what the external market's looking to provide. So we're actually trying to get the share of our foot on that. It'll be essentially managed, as I say, so there'll be the national external provider, you'll have your own local marketing activities to build their growth and sales. All back office, all website management, etc. will be through the strategic delivery partner. And the key thing that we want is intelligence on where the prize fund, where the winners, who's getting the community benefit from that, because one of the things that you'll be using this for is not an income generator for you as a council. What it does is it generates funds for your community for good causes. It can be used for participatory budgeting. It can be even used if you're looking to build up a bank of resources for your community groups to enable them to do more. Given some of the programmes that we also have in the improvement service, we're very, very concerned that this doesn't have a negative impact on communities with respect to kind of any notion around gambling of it, and that's why we've been very tight in the proposed model around digital sign-up for purchasing the ticket as well. It's very important, and after 3 to 6 months, we'll work with our delivery partner to provide us a breakdown of the postcodes for where all these tickets are being bought, so we can do a bit of analysis to see if there's any way a correlation between communities that are experiencing disadvantage of where these tickets have been bought from. That's not to say that that in any way means that there's an issue, because we need to do a wee bit more work on that, because what you might tend to find is that there might be kind of a community split somewhere where they feel that the money that they're buying that ticket for will go directly back to their community for infrastructure, for projects, for community groups and voluntary groups. So it might just be a kind of cause and effect that they're actually looking to fund their own area, but we need to actually find out if that is the case. If councils at any point then felt more comfortable with what that data was telling you, there's an opportunity to stop and to come out of the lottery itself. As far as we can see from the benefits of it, it will be individual council discretion how you distribute your funds. Roughly it's a kind of 50, 25, 25 breakdown. 50% of the ticket income will go to being able for councils to be able to fund good causes, community groups within their own area. 25% will be to the kind of administration and marketing, 25% will be to the guaranteed prize fund as well. What we're hoping is that if we get enough councils on board, we can start to kind of make a bit of inroads into that 25% market administration cost as well, because we think that is a bit on the high side at the moment. But given there's not a huge amount of external suppliers on there, you have to kind of work with what you've got as well. A lot of councils, when we met in September, are really kind of interested in how this links to PB. There's obviously a huge budget pressure on councils just now in terms of how they deal with PB, how they involve the communities into it. This certainly can be one way of doing it, because you can be very kind of transparent about the geographies that the money is coming from, and then how you're distributing that back out as well. And also, as I say, there's the kind of addition for an optional bolt-on. One of the things that you can do with the 50% that you get in, you could put that into what might be at the moment your own community grant fund and then disperse the funds that way. But you've got the other option that actually you can work with charities, community groups, etc., to actually sign up and have them named on the digital option when you buy that ticket. So, for example, if there's a community group who you wanted your money to go directly to, you would tick that box, and that can be an additional bolt-on that we can have put onto the basic package. That said, there's a lot of risks around this, a lot of political risks in terms of how we look to market it and sell it within our local communities. Just big concerns about even the fact that you have something like a council lottery in place, what that means, how we can, I suppose, convince our elected members that this is not something that is politically insensitive in terms of how we sell it, but actually can be used for good causes in terms of how you want to distribute it. Interestingly, a couple of councils have said this, they've got a lot of kind of front sector and charity lotteries already in existence within their own council area, so this could be seen as competition, and we're very well aware of that, so there might be a reluctance for some councils to take part because of that. And as I say, there's issues around problem gambling, but we'll put the mechanisms in place that will look at buying patterns after a period of 3 to 6 months as well. So the next steps, as I said, just very briefly in terms of what we're looking at the moment. We've got the kind of the basic outline of the model. We're highlighting the risks and benefits, and we'll put them into kind of a high-level options appraisal in the communications that we have with chief executives. We're sending a flyer out to them probably at the end of this week. It's an initial expression of interest, and hopefully people will get back to us before Christmas. We realise that there then might be a next step in taking that to a business case or to committee approval. So what we'll do is that the person that we've been engaging with over the last kind of 2 months to get us to this point is committed to helping us out with a generic business case around all of this that we then can send to all councils who are interested in taking this forward, so you're not being left alone. And we've had great help from us, their colleagues in Highland, East Ayrshire and Snowdon in terms of getting us to that place. That could be through inclusion in committee reports, and then we'll look at how we can into our governance procedures that we have as well. We've also been having discussions with Scotland Excel around this. The reason we're writing out to chief executives is, from their perspective, there comes probably a number of about half the Scottish councils. If we can get at least half involved, it gives us a critical mass to allow us to kind of be a lot more kind of stronger in terms of the proposal we'll be putting forward to the market, in terms of what we're looking for, in terms of procurement, the benefits that we derive to councils, and we can be a bit stronger on that. Any less than that, and we might need to look at how we do that collectively ourselves. They're willing to offer advice, but the more councils we get, the better chance we have of actually being able to work with them as a full-time partner. So that's a very, very quick run through. I appreciate there's not a huge amount of detail on the model. It won't be when we get through kind of down the road of procurement in terms of actually getting to know what it looks like. But the next step, as I say, is the letter going out to your chief exec. We will be writing to all people, and I know a couple of people here today, and some of your colleagues were at the meeting that we had in Falkirk in September time. We'll distribute that flyer to them as well. I'll happily do it to everyone that's here today, so that you can liaise with colleagues around this as well. Once we get that expression of interest, we will then work with all interested councils to get your business case to you, and then we'll work with Scotland Excel to see how we take through the next stage of procurement, because one of the things that we also want to do is try to see if at an early stage of procurement we can speak with some of the external providers straight away, just so they get a very quick idea of exactly what it is we're looking for as councils. So say that this, for us, is more about income generation for your communities, for your third sectors, for your charities, etc. It's not specifically an income generator for councils, but what it does do, potentially, is it funds you already used to fund your community groups. You've now maybe lessened the pressure on that, and that can be used for other things, so it's an indirect benefit to you as councils. So before I go on to what we're going to do in the breakouts, does anyone have any initial questions or?
So is there a view already formed from the third sector interfaces in the council areas where they've proposed this?
No, we've not glazed individual TSIs at a kind of a national level. What we propose to do is that the councils who are already taking that to business case will have already done that in terms of communicating with their own partners, because it might not just be the TSIs, you might have other charity groups involved on it. That's why we've heard from some councils, I know actually in Clyde is one of them, we've got a lot of kind of local lotteries, so there's a concern here that you might actually divert the funds away from them. So it would be for the individual councils to make that decision. It's not something we would probably want a national overview, given the local aspect of how you want this to operate. Yes.
So 50% of the ticket price goes back into the community's fund. So does all the tickets bought in your council area, does that 50% of those tickets, is that the money that's allocated then to your council area to buy back into, to sort of bid for? And that's done on a sort of a bidding, that would be done on a bidding sort of process that the council may or may not be involved in, depending on how you set it up.
The money themselves, unless you have the bolt-on where you will tick who that goes directly to, the basic thing would be you'll get 50% into the council, and you would be rich and smart about how much goes into each council, and what's bought in your area will go to your area. So you would get that 50%, you might choose to use it for PB, you might choose to use it for your community grants fund, it'd be up to you how you distribute it, but as long as that money goes to the community, that's the whole point.
But the prize fund is a national pot, so because I was earlier thinking that with a small population from Orkney, you know, that the prize fund wouldn't be very big, but obviously you're sort of suggesting that there is a set prize fund that's sort of, so the prize is pooled nationally, so to speak.
I think what we're looking at the moment is to give everyone an incentive in every council area. There will be a fixed prize fund that will be a proportion of the ticket sales for your particular area, so there's an incentive for people in your area to buy it, in addition to the want to do it for the good causes, hopefully. But if then the national fund doesn't get taken, we would look to build in a rollover as that, as you get in normal lotteries as well, so that still gets paid out. Because one of the concerns we have with the way it operates down south is that when the rollover is kept going and it doesn't actually get drawn, they don't then do it as a raffle, so one person will have to win it. They'll keep doing it as a lottery, so it's money in the bank for them effectively. We don't want that to happen, and that's why I think enough councils on board, we can enforce the external provider to take that view as well.
What is the timescale for ready out?
We're hoping to get a sale at the end of this week. It would be great if we could at least get a yes, we're interested by the Christmas break. The reason we're doing it so quickly is that will give us time then to develop the business case to get that back out to you, so that we're not waiting a while, then get the business case, we can actually do these things at the same time. Because the councils that we've been working with, I mentioned earlier, who are already at the business case, are keen to then get it moving to the next stage as well, and I think so we just have to make sure that everything's running at a pace. Thank you very much. As I say, we'll get further information out to you, as I say, with the letter of the Chief Executive and also information to be provided.